honored to be gathered here to celebrate a Pittsburgh legend, Leo Gerard, for his years of service, not only to the United Steelworkers, but to the city and to the country, and the work that he has done fighting for workers' rights, for the middle class, and for all American families by presenting him a key to the city of Pittsburgh. We'd like to begin by welcoming a statement on behalf of all of organized labor, and I'd like to welcome up Darren Kelly, the president of the Allegheny County Labor Council.
Thank you, my friends. When we talk about issues of the key to the city, it's more than just a catchphrase, and it's more than just occupying a certain region. It is the impact of what you have done for that region. We can sit here for hours and talk about everything that Leo has done for our fine city, but everybody knows what an amazing asset he's been to our city. We are so proud of the more than 100,000 men and women of our Labor Council to have a leader like Leo. He's always been there for us, and we will truly, truly miss him. But the residents of the city of Pittsburgh have benefited just tremendously from the selflessness of you've done, Leo, and we say thank you so much. And on behalf of our Labor Council family, we wish you the best of luck. The retirement's not going too good so far, since I think I've been on the phone with you 4 times since you retired, but that's how that is. We never leave our business, and thank you for everything you've done for our amazing city. Mr. Mayor, thank you for taking the time to instill this on a member of organized labor, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to your office. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
Thank you. I take a moment just because this is the 7th key that I've given out. This doesn't go out to very many people. The first were to Jack Shea and Father Jack O'Malley for the work that they did. You know, they were the bridge between the labor movement of heavy industry Pittsburgh and where we are today. And they made sure that workers in different industries benefited from the sacrifices that workers in the industries before made, that we didn't go backwards, that we kept going forward. Al Condalucci, who was an incredible leader and still an incredible leader, working with Pittsburgh's community of people with needs. Bill Strickland, who created the Manchester Craftsman Guild and put it around the world, 13 different centers. Alma Speed Fox, civil rights leader. Mayor Tom Murphy, and dedicating the trail that he built along the riverfront, re-envisioning Pittsburgh at a time when people and buildings had their back to the river, and saying, you know, someday we're going to look at the river and say, hey, don't go down there. We'll say, go down there, and recognizing that leadership. And now today, Leo Gerard. And Leo, first off, Pittsburgh has been blessed to have you. You have been a leader on an international scale that has always made it feel like you were just a guy who lived next door. You were approachable, you were accessible, you were there for not only your workers, but for workers all around this world. You created the Blue-Green Alliance. When environmentalists and labor were on 2 separate sides, you said, come on guys, we can work together and do this and create something. And in that process, you created fair trade. The ability to understand that trade around the world can be based upon improving the lives of all people and at the same time improving environment. And those standards now have become part of what Pittsburgh is about. You have lent your compassion and your energy in a way that has defined what the city is. And that's something that very few people have the ability to do, and to be able to do it on an international scale. Mayors, governors very rarely have that same opportunity. But as we know, there is something very special about being the president of the United Steelworkers. That is something that is ingrained into Pittsburgh and is a part of not only our history, but our families. And as the proud grandson of 2 steelworkers, one who lost his life at the age of 50 at J&L, and one who was fired for simply raising his hand and asking a question, if I sign this piece of paper, does that mean I can work all the time? I just say thank you. If you could come up here as I present this key to you, I would also like to present this proclamation so that it is part of the city of Pittsburgh's history. As we sit over Ebenezer Denny, the first mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, who fought shoulder to shoulder with George Washington and Alexander Hamilton at the Battle of Yorktown. Let this be a part of that treasured history of this city. Whereas Leo W. Gerard was born in 1947 in Creighton Mine, Ontario, a suburb of Sudbury. And whereas his father, Wilford Gerard, was a miner at the Creighton Mine and a key organizer with the International Mine Mill and Smelter Workers Union, which merged with the United Steelworkers in 1967. And whereas that exposure at an early age left an impression that has defined his life, he was taught that unions were supposed to be engaged on social issues and not just collective bargaining. Leo often listened in on union meetings conducted in the family home. He handed out leaflets on the eve of a strike at the age of 11 and accompanied his father on a union organizing drive at the age of 13. And whereas Leo took a job at the Inco Nickel Smelter in Sudbury, he was elected steward and then chief steward of the 7,000-member Local 6500. He enrolled at Laurentian University studying economics and planning to be an economics professor. He quit college in 1977 when he was just a few credits short of graduation and took a job as a staff representative for the International Union. And whereas, as president of the United Steelworkers, Leo led the union on a course of unprecedented activism, demanding and winning government action to halt a flood of illegal imports that destroyed North American manufacturing jobs in negotiating precedent-setting labor agreements. And whereas as co-founder of the labor environmental partnership, the Blue-Green Alliance, Leo served as bridge between worlds, connecting 2 sides to help create a better future for all. He also serves on the boards of the Campaign for Americans' Future, the Economic Policy Institute, and the Elderly Housing Development and Operations Corps. And whereas after decades of protecting the rights of both our nation and region's workers, Leo retired from his position this year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, William Peduto, Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh, do thank Leo W. Gerard for his decades of dedication and service to Pittsburgh, awarding him with our city's highest civilian honor, the Key to the City, and declaring Tuesday, August 22nd, 2019, is Leo W. Gerard Day, here in our most livable city of Pittsburgh. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. This is yours, and it's such an honor to be able to say this. You'll get why in a second. This is yours,
wow.
And it is made by United Steelworkers.
Wow. Wow. Humma.
Please, a few words.
I'm very rarely speechless. Mayor, that's beautiful.
That's your guys and gals who made that at Wendell August Forge.
Wow. Wendell August Forge is a special place with our members. Just jump in my head when the fire at the forge happened. Our members ran into the fire and saved most of the patterns and most of the molds. And in gratitude, the owners of the forge kept our people on the payroll all the time while they were rebuilding it. So
Well,
this makes it even more special.
and
Thank
they're
you
the
so
ones
much.
who designed it as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you. Let me just, when the mayor was saying some of the things about my youth, it's very humbling. When I came to Pittsburgh, it was like magic. I had been a Steeler fan when I worked in the smelter. And in football season, I would go to work every day with my Steeler proud Franco Harris jersey. And I dreamt that maybe someday I could get to a game. Little did I ever believe that I'd be in Pittsburgh and actually go to a game. In hockey season, I have to confess, I was mistakenly a Philadelphia Flyers fan until I got to Pittsburgh and found that's almost like a death sentence. But I saw Mario Lemieux play, and I was amazed. And I've become a very, very dedicated Penguins fan. In fact, the mayor and I often bump into each other in the hallway going to the game. The other thing that my dad taught me is that unions had to be more than a collective bargaining agency. You don't put your dues in every month and pull the lever and see which coins fall down. What you do is you fight for economic justice and for everybody. I grew up, some folks in the room know that, but I grew up in what was the pollution capital of North America. In the town and the region that I grew up in, NASA sent astronauts to practice landing on the moon because there was no vegetation. The union took up the fight to clean up that environment. It took us over 40 years with several local union leaders. And if you go back to my hometown now, they've won dozens and dozens of awards for the greening of a region. There's 300 lakes within the city boundaries, of which you can fish or swim in 295 of them. That was done by the labor movement, and that was done because the labor movement, of which I was a part of, said it's not a choice between a clean environment and good jobs. It's not one or the other. It will either be both, or we'll end up in the long term having neither. That's what led to the creation of the Blue-Green Alliance. I've had the privilege of working very directly in Canada and the US and seeing the similarities and the differences, but I've also had the opportunity to work with unions from all around the world. And I can say this without any fear of being wrong. I've been blessed to live in two of the best countries and to live and work in two of the best cities. Pittsburgh is so much like my hometown. When I showed up, I was just telling one of the guys that when I showed up and moved to Pittsburgh, I had been there about a week, and I needed to have something. My wife wanted to fix something, and so I didn't know anywhere, but I found this place called Trader Horns. And I went to Trader Horns and asked someone if they could help me find this. And the lady not only took me to where I was able to find what I was looking for, but by the time I left 30 minutes later, I knew all about her family and she knew all about mine. People were just so open. And I got home and told my wife, this is a great place. And it really is a great place. The city is transforming itself. The union has played a part in that. The mayor has played a part in that for his career. A lot of others, and I can tell you this. We've got things that have been built in Pittsburgh that have been built on time and under budget and by union labor. And the ability of the labor movement, political community, some of the business community to work with us has helped transform this community in ways that others would need to emulate. And I'm just really humbled and proud of being from Pittsburgh and having this key. I got to figure out, now that I don't have as many walls as I used to have, I've got to figure out where to put this thing. And probably for the first couple of weeks, I'll put it near my nightstand, so when my wife gives me shit, I'll say, yeah, but I got it. You know? So, but thank you very much. And I can't say enough about how proud I am to be able to say that I'm from Pittsburgh now. And I got to watch what I say, but the Pittsburgh Steelers have 6 Super Bowl rings. The Pittsburgh Penguins have 5 Stanley Cup rings, and hopefully the Pirates will have more than onion rings in the future. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Leo, on behalf of the people of Pittsburgh, the people I wish I could say for all of Pennsylvania and this country and this world, thank you for being there to fight for them. This is just a small memento of the work that you have done in improving lives of people who you will never meet. So thank you.
Thank you. And one of the things I say in the union is never I, it's always we. And these people in the room have helped do all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to have you guys here. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our ceremony, and thank you everybody for attending as well. You know, this is in a historic room. This was built on the 100th anniversary of the city of Pittsburgh in 1916, and every one of the crises that went through in the city happened at that table. That's the original table designed for this room. You can imagine back in the days of the Great Flood in the 30s, or the crisis of economic collapse in the 80s, there are probably a few ashtrays sitting around there at that time. But this room is a great room in order to be able to recognize a great man. Thank you.
Thank you again.